This is Petra, a city carved into solid rock, hidden deep in the deserts of Jordan. According to official history, Petra was built more than 2,000 years ago, using simple tools, primitive techniques, and human labor alone. But there's a problem, because what you are looking at does not look simple. These facades rise over 40 meters high, carved vertically into sheer cliff faces, with near-perfect symmetry, precise angles, and razor-sharp edges. Features that modern stoneworkers still struggle to replicate today. Look closer. There are no visible construction marks, no scaffolding holes, no unfinished sections. Every line is intentional. Every surface is engineered. So here is the real question. How does an ancient civilization carve an entire city downward from the top of a cliff with millimeter-level precision, without leaving a single major error? And why does Petra resemble advanced stone machining more than primitive hand carving? Tonight, we're not repeating what history textbooks claim. We're examining the evidence carved into the rock itself. Because Petra may not just be an ancient city, it may be proof that part of our past has been misunderstood or deliberately ignored.
Petra, a city carved into solid rock, hidden in the desert of southern Jordan. According to official history, Petra was created more than 2,000 years ago by an ancient civilization using simple tools, basic techniques, and human labor alone. But the moment you look at Petra closely, that explanation begins to fall apart. This is not a simple ancient settlement. This is a city carved vertically into cliffs, with massive facades reaching heights of over 40 meters, carved with near-perfect symmetry, precision, and structural balance. This documentary explores a single question. What if Petra was not built, but discovered? Official historical sources describe Petra as the capital of an ancient trading civilization. They claim it was carved gradually, over decades, using primitive hand tools such as chisels and hammers. On paper, this explanation sounds reasonable. In reality, it raises far more questions than it answers. The most iconic structure in Petra is known as Al-Khazne, often called the Treasury. It stands approximately 40 meters tall and 25 meters wide, carved directly into a vertical cliff face. This is not a structure made of stacked stones. It is a single continuous carving from top to bottom. Now consider the implications. Carving downward into a cliff of this scale leaves no margin for error. A single mistake cannot be corrected. Stone cannot be reattached. Material cannot be rebuilt. Yet Petra shows no signs of trial and error. The proportions are consistent. The symmetry is precise. The edges are controlled. The geometry is deliberate. Basic hand tools. We would expect to see imperfections, misalignments, tool scars, and structural inconsistencies. Instead, many surfaces appear unusually smooth, in some places resembling material that was softened rather than struck. Where are the tool marks? When stone is worked by hand, it leaves evidence. Parallel grooves, irregular strike patterns, directional impact scars. At Petra, these indicators are either minimal or absent. This absence is one of the most troubling aspects of the site. Another major issue is scale. Petra is not a single facade. It is an entire complex of hundreds of rock-cut structures spread across kilometers of terrain. The volume of material removed to create Petra is immense. If this city were carved using traditional methods, the surrounding area should contain massive debris fields, piles of stone fragments, discarded material, or transport paths. Is limited. This leads to an unavoidable question. Where did all the removed rock go? Many of Petra's structures appear to have been carved from the top downward. This method would require advanced planning, accurate measurement, and precise control over material removal. It would also require stable working platforms, consistent vertical alignment, and the ability to manage falling debris safely. All of this implies an advanced understanding of engineering and geometry. Petra also contains one of the most sophisticated ancient water management systems ever discovered in an arid environment. Channels carved into rock, ceramic pipelines, water diversion tunnels, flood control mechanisms, reservoirs designed to regulate pressure and flow. This system allowed Petra to collect, store, and distribute water efficiently in the middle of a desert. Such hydraulic complexity is not accidental. Long-term planning, environmental knowledge, and mathematical precision. Even today, modern engineers study Petra's water systems to understand how they function so effectively. This raises another critical point. Petra was not merely decorative. It was functional, engineered, optimized. Everything about the city suggests foresight rather than improvisation. Yet official narratives continue to describe its creators as using simple tools and limited technology. This contradiction cannot be ignored. Throughout history, there are many examples of later civilizations inhabiting structures they did not originally build. Cities reused, temples repurposed, monuments inherited. Occupation does not equal creation. Petra shows signs of long-term use, adaptation, and modification over time. But usage alone does not explain origin. Another unsettling detail lies in the weathering patterns. Some sections of Petra show advanced erosion, while others appear relatively preserved. This suggests different exposure timelines or restoration cycles that do not neatly align with the conventional historical timeline. If Petra were carved over a short period using primitive tools, we would expect more uniform aging. Instead, the evidence hints at a much longer and more complex history. There is also the matter of artistic consistency. Across Petra, similar architectural styles appear repeatedly, even across structures that would supposedly have been created decades apart. This consistency suggests standardized knowledge rather than generational improvisation. Standardization implies instruction. Instruction implies advanced systems of knowledge transmission. None of this fits comfortably within the official explanation. At this stage, we are not claiming who built Petra. We are only establishing what Petra is not. It is not simple. It is not crude. It is not easily explained by conventional narratives. In the next part of this documentary, we will expand the investigation beyond Petra itself. We will compare Petra to similar rock-cut sites around the world. We will examine geological timelines. We will explore the possibility that Petra represents a level of lost knowledge rather than primitive ingenuity. And most importantly, we will ask the question that history avoids. What if Petra is older than we are told? Petra does not exist in isolation. When researchers began comparing Petra to other ancient sites around the world, a disturbing pattern started to emerge. Across different continents, separated by oceans and thousands of kilometers, similar structures appear again and again. Structures carved directly into solid rock. Structures that required extreme precision, show little to no evidence of primitive construction methods. In Peru, there are sites like Machu Picchu and Sacsayhuaman. Massive stone blocks, perfect joins without mortar, cuts so precise that modern tools struggle to replicate them. In India, the Ellora and Ajanta caves stretch for kilometers into solid basalt rock. Entire temples carved from a single stone mass. Symmetrical halls, perfect columns, consistent proportions across vast distances. In Egypt, there are rock-cut temples such as Abu Simbel, monumental facades carved directly into cliffs, internal chambers aligned with astronomical events, precision that defies simple explanation. Different cultures, different timelines, different continents, yet the same methods appear to have been used. This raises a critical question. Are we looking at independent inventions, or the remnants of a shared, forgotten origin. Knowledge. Geology adds another layer to the mystery. Rock does not behave uniformly over time. Certain erosion patterns take tens of thousands of years to form. Others occur rapidly under specific conditions. At Petra, some sections show deep erosion channels consistent with prolonged water exposure. Other areas appear comparatively sharp and preserved. This inconsistency suggests that Petra may have experienced environmental conditions very different from those of today. Conditions that do not align with the current desert climate. Some geologists have pointed out that Petra shows signs of water flow on a scale far greater than seasonal rainfall. If that is true, then Petra may predate the desert itself. That possibility alone would rewrite its timeline entirely. Another overlooked detail is astronomical alignment. Several structures within Petra appear to align with solar events such as equinoxes and solstices. Light penetrates certain chambers at precise times of the year. Shadows fall in deliberate patterns. Angles are exact. These alignments require advanced astronomical observation and long-term planning. They are not accidental. They require knowledge passed down, refined, and preserved. This again contradicts the idea of spontaneous or primitive construction. Then there is the issue of labor. To carve Petra using hand tools would require tens of thousands of workers over many generations. They would need food supply systems, medical care, shelter, logistics, waste management. Yet there is little archaeological evidence for such a massive permanent workforce at the time Petra was supposedly built. The infrastructure needed to support that scale of labor is largely absent. This suggests that the main carving phase may not have occurred during the period traditionally assigned to it. Another uncomfortable fact is repetition. Across Petra, the same architectural patterns appear over and over. Same column proportions, same decorative ratios, same structural logic. Repetition of this level implies standardized measurement systems. Standardization implies formal engineering principles. Primitive societies do not operate this way. Advanced ones do. Throughout history, knowledge has been lost before. The fall of Rome led to centuries of technological regression. Concrete formulas disappeared. Engineering techniques were forgotten. Literacy collapsed. If this happened once, it could have happened before. Petra may not represent the peak of an ancient civilization. It may represent the remains of one. A civilization that reached a high level of technical understanding. A civilization that shaped stone with precision we still struggle to explain. Civilization that collapsed, leaving behind silent monuments. Later cultures may have discovered these structures, reused them, renamed them, and integrated them into their own history. Over time, the original builders were forgotten. Only the stone remained. This would explain why Petra feels complete, yet out of place. Why its engineering seems advanced, yet undocumented. Why its scale exceeds what its supposed builders could reasonably achieve. This documentary does not claim to know who built Petra. It does not claim aliens, magic, or fantasy. It claims something far more unsettling. That human history may be incomplete. That advanced knowledge may have existed before recorded civilization. That catastrophes may have erased entire chapters of our past. That what we call ancient may actually be the remnants of something much older. Petra stands as a challenge. Timelines. A challenge to assumptions. A challenge to the idea that progress is linear. Stone does not lie. It does not care about narratives. It does not adjust itself to textbooks. It only records what was done to it. And what was done to Petra suggests capability far beyond what we are taught. Perhaps Petra was not built by those who lived there last. Perhaps it was inherited. Perhaps it was rediscovered after a collapse. Or perhaps we are missing an entire civilization from our history. The most dangerous question is not how Petra was built, The most dangerous question is this: what else have we forgotten? If this documentary made you question what you were taught, then this channel is not optional for you. What you've just seen is only one fragment of a much larger story. There are other places like Petra, other structures history cannot explain, questions most channels avoid. This channel exists to document them, calmly, carefully, and without distortion. If you leave now, you will miss the next evidence. So before you go, subscribe. Not because you are told to, but because once you start questioning history, there is no reason to stop. Subscribe now, and stay where the unanswered questions continue.